How you doing, Mr. DJ? Back, gonna start another countdown as requested. Gonna do the fall of 1983 fancy playlist of November 20th, 1983. And the ink is faded out. It's not so obvious when you look at it on the screen, but the ink is faded out a little bit on this fancy playlist. But as you can see, the paper itself, this card or whatever you want to call it, in pristine shape. Fantasy playlist composed about 36 years ago, and about seven debuts. Well, seven debuts on this fantasy playlist. Highest debuting record at number 25. So let's go ahead and get started right now. Speaking of debuts, at number 40, fell in love with this record. And I remember fall of 1983, I was working at a country station, midnight to 6 on weekends, and sleep all day on Saturday. About 5 or 6 o'clock, I'm still in bed. It's dark outside. It's November 1983. And I put on the radio and listened to a countdown. They played this song, When the Nights Go Out by Naked Eyes, and I just flipped over this record. It's just something about this song that's just compelling, riveting, electromagnetic force that drew me to this song. Naked Eyes at number 40, debuting at number 40 on this fancy playlist, was not one of their biggest hits, though. Uh, the album, it was the third single from the album. It was called Burning Bridges. Always Something There to Remind Me was the first. It was an explosive record, a remake. Burt Bacharach held David record. They wrote that back in 1963. Always Something There to Remind Me. And let me digress on that song for just a minute. Always Something There to Remind Me started out as a demo by Dionne Warwick. Then Burt Bacharach's, an R&B pop protege of his. His name was Lou Johnson. He came out with his version of Always Something There to Remind Me in the summer of 1964, but was not a big hit. Kind of a drifter sounding record, nice R&B, northern, fits right into that northern soul slot. But only got as high as number 49 on Billboard's Hot 100 Summer 64. The first massive hit of Always Something There to Remind Me happened in England. A woman named Sandy Shaw, she was 17, 18 years old. She covered Always Something There to Remind Me, went to number one in Britain for 3 weeks, 1964, crossed back over here to the States, only got as high as number 52 here in the United States. Late 64, early 65, got her version, and Lou Johnson's version on my fancy playlist, on my Spotify playlist rather. The first substantial hit version of Always Something There to Remind Me finally happened in early 1970. A nephew of Sam Cooke, his name was R.B. Greaves, he covered that record, and it was the runner-up to Take a Letter Maria. That was his massive hit, and Always Something There to Remind Me went to number 27 on Billboard's Hot 100. And here we go with Naked Eyes with their techno-pop version that just flared up all over the world like a supernova. The song went top 10 here in the States. The song after that, Promises, Promises, top 20 here in the States as well by Naked Eyes. And now we got When the Lights Go Out. Naked Eyes were two guys from England, Pete Barnes, vocalist, and Rob Fisher, keyboard player. Rob Fisher, he passed away. He's no longer with us. Passed away in 1999. He was 39 years old, had stomach or bowel cancer. And Rob Fisher, when Naked Eyes broke up, Rob Fisher became a part of a group or duo named Climby Fisher. Simon Climby, Simon Climby, believe that's how you pronounce his name, and bear with me, and Robert Fisher, Rob Fisher rather, formed Climby Fisher, and they had that hit back in 1988, a remix of Love Changes Everything. In 1988, they had that hit, and Naked Eyes. They came out about two albums. One thing I gotta tell you that's gonna blow you away. One nifty tidbit. I can't remember where I came across this. I think it was off a website by off not a Facebook page, but off of the group's website or something. Rob Fisher and Pete Barnes, they formed a band called Neon. It was very early in the 80s. It was before Naked Eyes, maybe 1980 or 81, with two other guys, Kurt Smith and Roland Orzabel, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Orcabel. These two guys, well, when Neon broke up, we got You got Pete Barnes and Rob Fisher forming Naked Eyes, and Kurt Smith and Roland Orzabal formed Tears for Fears. Tears for Fear. Oh my goodness. I think I covered, dadgummit, I'm done. I can't believe it. I'm actually done with this video. I talked about Climby Fisher, talked about the history of Always Something There Remind Me. Don't have much on the history of When the Lights Go Out, but let me read you a few YouTube comments that struck out at me about this record. Very fondly remembered by some people. And the classic, here's a quote, the classics 80s sound, very nice. This was underneath the video. And I wished I lived the 80s, but I didn't. I was born in 2005, but I love the music, and this song makes me want to dance. It is danceable. It's more of a slow dance record than a fast dance record, though. There was another quote that I wanted to share with you. Oh yeah, I kind of agree with this. Quote unquote. This song was so underrated, didn't get much airplay on the radio. Missed the 80s. Quote unquote. Indeed, the song When the Lights Go Out only got as high as number 37 on Billboard's Hot 100. That's it. But boy, what a nice record. Making a debut at number 40 on my fancy playlist November 20th, 1983. Naked Eyes with When the Lights Go Out.